And welcome back here to Live Now from Fox. I'm Andrew Kraft. Let's transition into now some of these international headlines we want to get to. We do have a live picture vantage point over Beirut, Lebanon. Of course, the counter strikes between Israel and Hezbollah continue, but have lessened in their scope here. But they continue nonetheless. We'll be diving into what the nature of the conflict is between these two parties right now here. But our friend, Fox News correspondent Matt Finn, he's in the region with reporting. Remember, we're still waiting on Israel's response to what Iran did October the 1st. Israel has not retaliated just yet, and so now we're hearing more reporting to suggest that they have chosen some sites to target. Let's watch.
As the fighting intensifies in southern Lebanon, Israel has reportedly decided on a plan to retaliate for the October 1st missile strike by Iran. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has been vowing that Iran will pay for that attack. Since then, there's been intense speculation about whether the Israelis will hit Iran's nuclear sites, which Netanyahu reportedly told President Biden he would not do. On Wednesday, Iran said even if that happens, they'll be ready.
If they do such a stupid thing, it's very unlikely to inflict serious damage. And even if they can cause damage, our country can quickly compensate for it.
The reports come just hours after Israeli hit Hezbollah targets in and around Beirut for the first time in 5 days. Both sides are now digging in, claiming they're making progress towards their war goals.
Hezbollah is in trouble, and there is a need to make it bigger, and there is a need to press harder.
We decided on a new equation called the equation of hurting the enemy so that they feel the pain.
Meanwhile, a leaked letter reveals the United States has warned Israel that if the humanitarian situation in Gaza doesn't improve, the Biden administration may cut off weapons and funding to the Israeli military.
What we want to see here is results. This isn't about making a rhetorical statement. It's not about making any kind of threats. It's about seeing the situation reversed.
Now, in response to that U.S. letter, Israel says it sent 50 trucks worth of supplies into northern Gaza Wednesday morning. In Tel Aviv, Israel, Matt Finn, Fox News.
Matt, thanks so much. Back out live now to Jerusalem there. Let's bring into the conversation our friend, national security analyst and expert and retired Marine intelligence officer, Hal Kempfer. He joins me. Hal, good to see you here. And let's get right to it. You heard there in Matt Finn's report that some of these sites have been chosen by Israel, leading us all to wonder, when will they strike back? And when they do, will we know that they did?
Well, I think whatever happens, we're going to figure out what they did pretty darn soon. There's a variety of things that Israel could do. Of course, we're honestly, based on everything we've seen, we would certainly, when you say strike back, we would think strike mission. And the strike missions we've been seeing more than anything else are airstrikes. And that's definitely in the on the list of ways that Israel can strike back. But they have a variety of means. You have to remember, we saw the thing with the rather asymmetric and ingenious plot where they used exploding pagers and then they followed up the exploding walkie-talkies. That's a very covert operation. Sure. And certainly Israel has done covert operations extensively in Israel. They have done cyber attacks, and they have that capability as well. And of course, then they have the ability to do traditional sabotage things, right, along with missiles and airstrikes and all the other things. And don't forget, when they were taking out that weapons manufacturing plant, that missile manufacturing plant in Syria, which was all Iranian backed, that they actually used boots on the ground, special operations forces on the ground to go in there. So there's a variety of ways that that Israel could attack, but I do believe we'll figure it out pretty quick.
All right, yeah. So let's set that aside. Obviously, everything we're talking about is related and linked here, but let's set that aside. So we're waiting for that. Meanwhile, Israel and Hezbollah are still going kind of tit for tat here across border. Since you and I last spoke, and it's been a while, had the cross-border strikes risen in their regularity? Have they diminished in their frequency at all? Are we seeing a lessening of the pace, or is it full speed ahead here? Because I think it's safe to say, and you maybe would agree with me, that diplomacy doesn't really seem to be on the table at this point in time between Israel and Hezbollah. When will it get back to the table?
Well, certainly a diplomatic agreement, if you will, doesn't seem that close. Diplomacy is very much going on in the background. The Prime Minister of Lebanon has been pushing for a ceasefire. It sounds like, Hezbollah is very much interested in a ceasefire, but they're not that close on terms. The sort of ceasefire that Netanyahu would want to see would be the thing where all Hezbollah forces are not just saying they're removed south of the Litani River, but they are proven to be physically removed south of the Litani River, and I haven't heard anything like that. Now, as far as the lessening of strikes or attacks, there was a break for about 5 days where Israel did not do any strike missions in and around Beirut, and that was rather interesting. And that there was a lot of speculation. Was that something that was done to assuage the White House, to assuage the Biden administration? May have well been. But they did pick up with a rather spectacular strike mission today, and they've been doing other strike missions all around Lebanon. So it's not like they stopped doing strike missions altogether. And there have been some rather big rocket or missile attacks from Hezbollah into Israel, although with the Iron Dome, not that many get through. However, there was that attack with a drone that got in there and hit a mess hall, a food facility, if you will, a chow hall, where at least 4 IDF soldiers were killed, dozens were seriously injured. And that is not, that was just a few days ago, and that has definitely gotten everybody's attention, shown a vulnerability, if you will, within the air defense screen that Israel has up. So they have not really dissipated, and everything I'm getting on the ground operations in southern Lebanon, those are going full bore. They're not slowing down either.
Okay. Hal, while we have you, and we don't usually talk politics with you, but we are 20 days away from a presidential election here. And Vice President Harris appeared on the Fox News channel tonight with a special report anchor, Bret Baier. Bret Baier asked her to clarify or follow up on previous comments that she had made in another interview, saying that Iran is America's biggest threat on the world stage right now. Let's hear this exchange here as Bret Baier challenged her on that notion. Let's watch.
A number of experts thought you would say China. The FBI director had said that. But you said Iran. If that's the case, what do you say to critics who look at the actions of your administration and say you're not acting like Iran is the #1 threat?
Well, I will tell you most recently, whether it was in April or in October, in the several hours on each occasion that Iran posed a threat to Israel, I was there. Most recently in the Situation Room, in the most recent attack, working with the heads of our military and doing what America must always do to defend and to support Israel in its requirement to defend itself, and to give American support to be able to allow Israel to have the resources to defend itself against attack, including from Iran and Iran's terrorist proxies in the region.
Right.
And that is,
proxies were getting funded by
my commitment
Iran.
To that is unyielding and unwavering.
Critics just say that you either relaxed or failed to enforce sanctions on Iran, allowing all of this money to flow into Iran, like billions.
Let's go back to Donald Trump, who pulled out of a deal that would have actually put Iran in check.
The estimates in billions.
It was during Donald Trump's
that
administration
go towards
that
the Iran regime,
that we had an American military base that was attacked, where American soldiers suffered traumatic brain injuries, and Donald Trump dismissed them as headaches, not to mention how Donald Trump has treated and talked about America's military and military service people, calling them suckers and losers.
Hamas.
Okay, so I hope we got something out of that. I mean, it was really a back and forth exchange there, Hal. What did you make of how she responded to Bret Baier's questions there about whether or not the Biden-Harris administration did enough to deter and counter Iran, and what she might do if elected?
Well, if I could go back, if you're saying what is the biggest threat to the United States, I don't think there's too many real experts out there. I should say we're in a political season, so everybody says a lot of different things. But I mean, if you were to poll the Joint Chiefs or anybody, hands down, China is the biggest threat we face. That is our, we call it our pacing threat, if you will. They are, by far the biggest threat out there. And then, of course, it'd be Russia and Iran, probably in that order. Although I do not dismiss the threat that North Korea poses in the nuclear realm. That's a huge thing. Now, as far as the way she handled that question, it sounded like, well, I'm going to just be honest. I mean, it just sounded like she was kind of deflecting, answering the question straight on. And, look, there are issues that go back with Iran and how we've handled them for decades. Sure. All right. And yes, I think we certainly could see in the wake of October 7th of last year, that any money going to Iran was being used to fund a lot of different things, to include the what's now called the axis of resistance, the proxies around there. That's always been true. As you know, I've been heavily involved with anti-terrorism, counterterrorism training with for the last 2 decades. And we've always talked about Hezbollah, we've talked about Hamas, we've talked about Iran backing a variety of things. And of course, as you know, I have some personal history, having known someone who was killed in the '83 Beirut bombing. Yeah. Yes, Iran is a very significant threat. But across the world, certainly everyone I know that works in this business, I don't think we would think that Iran is a bigger threat than China.
I see. Hal, just lastly, I want to segue into counterterrorism threats, both at home and abroad. One of the issues that has come up in this presidential contest is how the Biden-Harris administration handled the withdrawal from Afghanistan in August of 2021. Many describe it as quote-unquote botched here. And I want to give a follow-up to a story that we brought our viewers now about a week and a half ago. Remember, this Afghan national, his name here is Tawhedi. He came to the United States in the wake of the withdrawal, and how he has since been arrested for plotting an ISIS-style terror attack in the United States. Jackie Heinrich has some really great reporting, new reporting on this. She says the Biden-Harris administration now admits, Hal, that Afghan national accused of plotting an election day terror attack did not undergo certain vetting that they previously claimed that he passed. I want to put this up yet again. I'm going to read this. This is very, very long from Jackie Heinrich's reporting. She reports, Nasir Ahmad Tawhedi was never vetted or approved by the State Department for Special Immigrant Visa Status. That's SIV status, Hal. Despite officials from other agencies claiming that he cleared that stringent process. Additionally, sources familiar with the investigation telling Fox that Nasir Ahmad Tawhedi was not well known to the U.S. government when the administration facilitated his departure to the U.S., despite his security role with the CIA there in Afghanistan. I'm reminding the viewers that that is what has come to light in this reporting since we first brought it to them. That Tawhedi served as a security guard in Afghanistan for CIA officials there during the war on terror. Now, officials, according to Jackie, say now Tawhedi was subjected to quote-unquote recurrent vetting as part of his DHS humanitarian parole under Operation Allies Welcome. But she says this raises new questions. The Department of Homeland Security has repeatedly stated no red flags were identified, Hal, at any point in Tawhedi's vetting. But 3 sources forcefully disputed DHS's characterization of the vetting process as quote-unquote thorough. She ends this by saying investigators, Hal, they're still working to determine whether Tawhedi was radicalized before or after coming to the United States. So, Hal, that is some of the new reporting we have on this. He was apprehended in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, not too long ago for plotting this ISIS-inspired terror plot. Some reporting has it out there that it was going to be some type of mass shooting on Election Day, Hal. What do you make of all this new reporting, Hal?
Well, I want to say one thing. First off, whatever we're doing kind of worked because certainly he's in custody. He didn't do what he planned to do. He didn't do the mass shooting. He didn't acquire all the weapons that he wanted to acquire. All the things in there, I kind of have to take a step back, away from the whole immigration discussion and say, well, at least that part we picked up on the indications and warning and that he was arrested and he is in custody and there's enough to charge him with. All right. And some of this, he may have been under observation, if you will, under investigation for quite some time because they had to have enough to actually charge him with something. One of the challenges with these counterterrorism cases is you know that they're radicalized, you know that they're, or you're absolutely sure they're radicalized, you know they have some sort of nefarious intent, but you don't have enough to go to court with. And so in some cases, the investigators have to let this play out just a little bit in order to let this thing sort of build up to where they have enough to where they can actually charge them with something and make sure that that's going to stick in courts. And that's part of, I'm sure, what happened here. The other thing, though, is he was a CIA security in country in Afghanistan. Certainly you kind of have to take that and realize the circumstances of that. They can't do the vetting process they would do with, say, someone who works security for the CIA here in the U.S. or in Western Europe or some other places in Europe or other places of the world. So, with that said, it's possible, and obviously they're saying it, so it's very possible that there may have been some expedient things done in that visa process. And I do recall the political environment back then was get them over here, get them in the U.S. They work for us. They put their lives on the line. And I think that played a big part of it. But I'm glad that he was stopped. I will say, though, I do get a little frustrated as we get further away from 9/11 that a lot of times there's a reluctance when things are reported to do something about it, to really start working it because you can't do a quick turnaround on terrorism cases. They tend to be things that take a little bit longer. It's not like the movies. It's not like TV.
Right.
You have to work this stuff. You have to kind of watch them. You have to look at all the ways they communicate, everything else. And sometimes it just doesn't work fast enough, so they don't do anything, and something happens. And I'm glad in this case, they were able to stop it.
Yeah, definitely. We'll leave it at that. Hal Kempfer, as always, can't thank you enough. We'll talk soon.
Okay, thank you, Andrew.